Imagine, if you will, a vision so extraordinary and so magnificent that it would defy belief even in our modern age, filled as it is with marvels and feats of the imagination. Picture a revelation so vivid and so profound that it seems almost beyond the realm of human experience. Yet, such a vision does indeed exist, and it lies within the pages of one of the most revered texts known to mankind, the Holy Bible. Today, dear listener, we embark on a journey into the ancient world, diving deep into the astonishing visions of the prophet Daniel, a man whose dreams and revelations continue to captivate and inspire believers to this very day. Prepare yourself for a tale of divine mysteries, prophetic insights, and spiritual truths that transcend the boundaries of time and space. And remember, our exploration will conclude with a prayer, inviting reflection and divine insight into our hearts. To set the stage, consider these words from the book of Daniel. In my vision at night I looked, and there before me was one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was led into his presence. Daniel chapter 7 verse 13, Niv. Imagine the striking imagery and the profound significance embedded in this passage, as we unravel the threads of Daniel's visions and their enduring impact on faith and theology. Imagine, dear reader, being transported to a world where dreams unveil the very fabric of destiny and visions disclose the veiled purposes of the divine. Such is the world of the prophet Daniel, whose extraordinary visions are chronicled in the book of Daniel. Let's embark on a journey through these key biblical texts, beginning with Daniel 2, Nebuchadnezzar's dream. In the second chapter of Daniel, we encounter Nebuchadnezzar, the mighty king of Babylon, who is troubled by a dream no mortal could decipher. Daniel, endowed with divine wisdom, reveals that the dream is a colossal statue representing successive kingdoms. The head of gold signifies Babylon, the chest and arms of silver denote Medo-Persia, the belly and thighs of bronze symbolize Greece, and the legs of iron and feet of iron and clay foretell Rome and subsequent divided empires. Astonished, Nebuchadnezzar acknowledges the supremacy of Daniel's God, who alone unveils such mysteries. Turning to Daniel 7, we are thrust into a monstrous vision experienced by Daniel himself, which unveils the rise and fall of earthly empires not through statues but through beasts. Behold, 4 great beasts emerge from a turbulent sea. The first, like a lion with eagle's wings, is transformed into a man. The second, resembling a bear raised up on one side, holds 3 ribs in its mouth. The third is a leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads, signifying its authority. The fourth beast, terrifying and exceedingly strong, crushes its foes with iron teeth. It boasts 10 horns and sprouts an 11th with eyes and a mouth speaking boastful things. These beasts, like the statue in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, embody successive realms, culminating in God's eternal dominion, as the Ancient of Days presides in judgment. In Daniel 8, we encounter the vision of the ram and the goat, a dream infused with divine symbolism. Daniel sees a ram with 2 unequal horns, representing the kings of Media and Persia. It charges westward, northward, and southward, conquering all in its path until a formidable goat emerges from the west. The goat, extraordinary in speed and power, clashes with the ram and shatters its horns. This goat, with a prominent horn between its eyes, signifies Greece and its first king, Alexander the Great. Upon his death, the horn is broken, and 4 lesser horns rise, corresponding to the 4 kingdoms that arise from Greece. Yet from one of these, a small horn emerges, symbolic of a future persecutor who defies the heavenly host, a theme echoing through the annals of prophecy. We culminate our journey in the enigmatic realm of Daniel 10 to 12, a triad of chapters that reveal Daniel's final, awe-inspiring visions. In chapter 10, Daniel is visited by a majestic being, whose appearance induces terror yet invokes divine reassurance. This heavenly messenger unveils the great struggle between divine and demonic forces influencing earthly realms, a celestial conflict mirrored in human history. Chapters 11 and 12 provide a panoramic sweep of future events, detailing the rise and fall of kings and the ultimate culmination of history's divine orchestration. Here, we witness the revelation of the abomination of desolation, a harbinger of calamity, yet coupled with promises of deliverance and resurrection, affirming that those who endure shall shine brightly, as stars forever and ever. Thus, the book of Daniel unfolds a tapestry of divine insight, woven through dreams and visions, revealing the transient nature of earthly power and the enduring sovereignty of the Almighty. As we ponder these revelations, let us be reminded that earthly kingdoms may rise and fall, yet God's kingdom remains unshaken, carrying us ever forward toward His eternal purpose. Imagine, dear reader, a young man torn from his homeland. This was Daniel, a youth of noble lineage from Jerusalem, taken captive and exiled to Babylon. Babylon, under Nebuchadnezzar, was the epicenter of grandeur and might, a golden city clouded by idolatry and heathen gods. Within this foreign realm, Daniel's integrity and unwavering faith in the God of Israel set him apart. Although young and among the conquered, he never wavered. Instead, he and his companions, a sterling assembly known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, resolved not to defile themselves with the king's rich food and wine. They chose, instead, simple fare, vegetables and water. Their faith was rewarded with robust health and wisdom surpassing that of the Babylonian wise men. One cannot discuss Daniel without lingering on his God-given gift of interpretation. Nebuchadnezzar was troubled by dreams, profound and enigmatic. It was Daniel who, in his humility, sought God's mercies, and it was God who unveiled the secret. The king's dream of a magnificent statue, its head of gold, chest of silver, belly of bronze, legs of iron, and feet of iron and clay, marked the succession of empires and the ultimate establishment of an indestructible divine kingdom. And then, the fiery furnace, an event that illustrated God's sovereignty in the starkest terms. When the king's decree demanded the people bow to a golden image, Daniel's 3 companions stood resolute in their faith. Cast into a roaring furnace for their defiance, they were unsinged, with even their garments unblemished by flame. A heavenly figure, like a son of the gods, was seen amidst the fire, a divine testament to their deliverance. Daniel's subsequent rise to prominence under successive kings, Belshazzar, Darius, and Cyrus the Persian, afforded him a position of influence. Yet, such favor often breeds jealousy. Conspirators, eager to find fault, orchestrated a decree aimed squarely at Daniel's devotion. When Daniel continued his habit of praying thrice daily to his God, he was cast into a den of lions. Imagine the fearful night, the cold stone floor, the prowling beasts, and dawn's light revealing Daniel untouched, an angel having shut the lions' mouths. Daniel's life was strung with visions, each more vivid than the last. Not merely dreams, but revelations of cosmic import. In the vision of the 4 beasts, emerging from a turbulent sea, he saw grotesque creatures symbolizing earthly kingdoms, each monstrous, each destined to fall before the Ancient of Days. Daniel's fearsome sight of the ram and the goat, with its little horn, depicted the rise and fall of empires, a prediction rippling through centuries. The pinnacle of Daniel's visions came in his elder years. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, an angelic being, radiant and terrible, appeared to Daniel by the Tigris. This spectral visitant spoke of great conflict, of future days, and wrestled with the forces of Persia and Greece. Through these mystical encounters, Daniel was shown the sweep of history, revealing the ultimate triumph of God's kingdom. Therefore, Daniel's life, his unwavering faith amidst trials, his role in interpreting divine mysteries, these form the core of his legacy. A legacy encapsulated in stories of fiery furnaces, lions' dens, and dreams that saw to the end of earthly dominions. His life, a testament to God's unyielding sovereignty, continues to inspire believers to stand firm in their faith, regardless of the temporal might arrayed against them. Reflect on Daniel, dear reader, not as an ancient relic but as a guiding light. His stories, etched in the annals of scriptural history, call us to a higher fidelity, urging us to place our trust in the eternal kingdom that shall never be destroyed. Picture a world where shadows of mighty empires loom large, where kingdoms rise and fall like the tides, and where the destiny of nations is etched in the ancient sands of time. Welcome to the historical context of the Book of Daniel. Our journey begins in the 6th century BCE, a tumultuous epoch marked by seismic shifts in power. The once great kingdom of Judah, besieged by the formidable forces of the Babylonian Empire, has been brought to its knees. Jerusalem, a city steeped in divine promise and fervent prayers, lies in ruins. It is amidst this backdrop of despair and destruction that the story of Daniel unfolds. Nebuchadnezzar II, a name that resonates with both grandeur and tyranny, is the Babylonian king. His empire, a marvel of architecture and military might, stretches across the known world, encompassing territories from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea. Under his reign, the Babylonian armies lay siege to Jerusalem, and in 586 BCE, they breach its walls, plunder its treasures, and raze Solomon's temple to the ground. The remnants of Judah's population are taken captive, exiled to the heart of Babylon. Daniel, a young man of noble lineage, is among those exiled. Torn from his homeland, he finds himself thrust into the opulent yet oppressive court of Nebuchadnezzar. Here, among the hanging gardens and grand ziggurats, Daniel becomes a scholar and advisor, his wisdom and insight earning him a place of prominence despite his foreign origins. The narrative of the Book of Daniel seamlessly intertwines with the chronicles of these ancient empires. Babylon, a city of legendary splendor with its Ishtar Gate and towering ziggurat, epitomizes human ambition and divine hubris. Yet, it is also a crucible where Daniel's faith is tested and refined. Amidst the idolatry and intrigue of the Babylonian court, Daniel remains steadfast, interpreting dreams and visions that foretell the fate of kings and kingdoms. As we progress through the chapters, the scene shifts dramatically with the emergence of the Persian Empire. In 539 BCE, Cyrus the Great, a military genius with a vision of empire building, vanquishes Babylon. This conquest marks a new chapter in the annals of history. Cyrus, unlike his Babylonian predecessors, adopts a policy of tolerance and restoration. He issues an edict allowing the Jewish exiles to return to their homeland and rebuild their shattered sanctuary in Jerusalem. It is under Persian dominion that Daniel's later visions unfold. The Persian Empire, with its sprawling reach from the Indus Valley to Thrace, becomes a canvas upon which divine prophecies are painted. Daniel's visions, rich with symbolism, speak of future conflicts and the ultimate triumph of God's everlasting kingdom over earthly realms. The historical tapestry of the Book of Daniel thus weaves together the destinies of Babylon and Persia, two colossal empires whose rise and fall are orchestrated by a sovereign God. The Jewish exile, a period of profound loss and longing, is also a time of remarkable revelation. Through dreams and visions, Daniel peers into the mysteries of time, offering glimpses of hope and restoration amidst the swirling currents of history. As we conclude this exploration of historical context, we are reminded of the timeless truth that echoes through the corridors of the past. Kingdoms may rise and fall, but divine purposes stand eternal. The story of Daniel, set against the backdrop of Babylonian conquest and Persian benevolence, is a testament to faith that endures, wisdom that guides, and a divine plan that prevails. And so, dear reader, let us ponder these ancient empires not merely as relics of history, but as stages upon which the drama of divine providence unfolds, echoing down to our own days with unrelenting relevance and hope. Allow me to introduce you to the remarkable cast of characters that populate the narrative of Daniel's visions, for each one plays a pivotal role in the unfolding drama of divine revelation. First, there is Daniel, the protagonist of our story. A man of unwavering faith and unblemished character, Daniel was taken into captivity in Babylon as a young man. Despite the trials and temptations he faced, he remained steadfast in his devotion to God. His life is a testament to the power of faith under pressure, demonstrating wisdom in counsel and courage in conviction. More than a mere dreamer, Daniel was a seer whose visions unraveled the mysteries of the divine plan, offering a glimpse into the future that was as daunting as it was hopeful. Next, we encounter King Nebuchadnezzar. As the mighty ruler of the Babylonian Empire, Nebuchadnezzar was a man of grandeur and ambition. His dreams, filled with colossal statues and towering trees, spoke of his empire's rise and fall. Yet, it was Daniel who deciphered these dreams, revealing a future not carved by Nebuchadnezzar's might but by the hand of God. Through Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar experienced a humbling transformation, recognizing a higher power reigning above all earthly thrones. Then there is Belshazzar, the last king of Babylon. In stark contrast to Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar epitomizes pride and folly. His reign ends abruptly with a divine pronouncement, the infamous writing on the wall, which Daniel interprets as the imminent fall of his kingdom. Belshazzar's story serves as a cautionary tale of how arrogance and impiety can lead to downfall, a stark reminder of the transient nature of human power. We must also speak of Cyrus the Great, the Persian king whose decree allowed the Jewish exiles to return to their homeland. Though not a central figure in Daniel's visions, Cyrus's role in the larger biblical narrative is nothing short of providential. He is portrayed as an instrument in God's grand design, a foreign king whose actions fulfilled divine prophecy. His reign represents a turning point in the history of the Jewish people, a beacon of hope and restoration. Finally, there is the angel Gabriel, the heavenly messenger. Gabriel's appearances are few but profound, delivering messages of great import to Daniel. In these encounters, Gabriel provides clarity and comfort, helping Daniel navigate the bewildering visions that foresee the end of days. Gabriel embodies the link between the divine and human realms, a bearer of God's truth to mankind. Through Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar, Belshazzar, Cyrus the Great, and Gabriel, we see a tapestry of divine interaction with humanity. These figures, so distinct in their roles and destinies, converge in the book of Daniel to reveal a narrative steeped in the mysterious workings of a sovereign God. Whether through the rise and fall of empires or the intimate revelation of divine mysteries, their stories beckon us to look beyond the temporal and glimpse the eternal. Imagine with me, dear reader, a grand tapestry being woven by unseen hands. A tapestry where every thread is meticulously placed, each color chosen with purpose. This is, in essence, the vision of divine sovereignty, a central theme in the book of Daniel. Divine sovereignty speaks to the absolute and unchallenged rule of the Almighty. God is not merely a passive observer in the grand theater of existence. He is the playwright, the director, and the ultimate arbiter of all fate and destiny. In Daniel's visions, this sovereignty manifests with striking clarity. For instance, consider the dream of the great statue in Daniel 2, which foretells the rise and fall of empires. It is not human ambition or cunning that determines the course of history, but God's unerring hand. These shifting kingdoms, represented by gold, silver, bronze, iron, and clay, are brought low by a stone, cut out by no human hand, a symbol of God's kingdom, enduring and invincible. This divine sovereignty stands in stark contrast to the ephemeral nature of earthly kingdoms. Human rulers, though they may reign with apparent power and splendor, are but fleeting shadows compared to the eternal kingdom of God. This is poignantly illustrated in Daniel 7, where 4 terrifying beasts emerge from the sea, representing chaotic and violent earthly powers. Yet, these beasts stand no chance against the Ancient of Days, whose kingdom is everlasting and whose dominion endures through all generations. When these earthly empires dissolve into the sands of time, God's kingdom reigns supreme, an immovable rock amidst the tempest. Another integral theme in Daniel is the eschatological vision, that is, visions pertaining to the end times and the ultimate fulfillment of God's plan. In these apocalyptic glimpses, Daniel is swept into realms where the boundary between temporal and eternal becomes permeable. The visions of the ram and the goat in Daniel 8, and the detailed prophecies in Daniel 10-12, unfold like a celestial map charting the final chapters of history. Eschatology, however, is not merely a grim ledger of events to come. It is a revelation of hope and assurance. It whispers to the faithful that beyond the trials and tribulations, beyond the persecution and suffering, there lies a consummation, a divine denouement wherein justice is rectified and divine justice is established. It is this hope that sustains believers through ages of turmoil, reminding them that suffering is not the end of the story. Finally, we delve into the role of prophecy in divine revelation as seen through Daniel's experiences. Prophecy, in its highest sense, is not about predicting the unpredictable but revealing the deeply hidden truths of God's plan. The visions gifted to Daniel, be they obscure or fantastical, serve to illuminate the divine hand at work within the fabric of reality. Consider the angel Gabriel's role in guiding Daniel through his perplexing visions. Gabriel, a messenger from the courts of heaven, provides Daniel with interpretations that reveal God's purpose. These prophetic insights are not meant to incite fear or speculation for its own sake but to instill understanding, wisdom, and a deeper appreciation for God's unsearchable wisdom. As we navigate these profound theological waters, let us remember that the heart of Daniel's visions lies in their ultimate aim: to draw us nearer to the truth of God's sovereign and eternal kingdom, to open our eyes to the transient nature of earthly power, and to fill our spirits with the hope of divine culmination. In the grand tapestry of existence, every thread of prophecy, every vision, and every revelation is woven with the intent to guide, enlighten, and assure us of God's unchanging purpose and boundless love. Thus, as we reflect on these theological concepts, let us do so with reverence and gratitude, knowing that in these ancient words lies a timeless call: to trust in the sovereignty of our Maker, to seek His kingdom above all, and to rest in the promise of His eternal reign. Imagine for a moment, dear reader, a tapestry woven through the annals of history. A tapestry which threads together the minds of some of the greatest theological thinkers our world has known. These minds have pondered, debated, and elucidated upon the visions bestowed upon Daniel, each adding their own thread to the intricate fabric of interpretation and understanding. Among these venerable figures, some stand out like pillars supporting a grand cathedral of thought. We begin with Saint Jerome, a scholar of antiquity whose influence reverberates through the centuries. Jerome, known for his translation of the Bible into Latin, the Vulgate, approached Daniel's visions with a meticulous and devout scrutiny. He saw the prophetic dreams as divine revelations that foretold the rise and fall of empires, aligning them with historical events known to him. Jerome's Latin commentaries on Daniel not only provided clarity but set a precedent for future exegeses. His work underscored a belief in the predictive power of the prophecies, affirming that the events foretold by Daniel had indeed played out on the stage of world history. Moving forward in time, we encounter John Calvin, a titan of the Reformation whose intellectual rigor and theological profundity left an indelible mark on Protestant thought. Calvin approached the book of Daniel with both reverence and a critical eye. His interpretation of Daniel's visions leaned heavily on the sovereignty of God, viewing these revelations as illustrations of God's ultimate control over the rise and fall of earthly kingdoms. Calvin's expositions were not merely academic, they were deeply pastoral, aiming to reassure the faithful that despite the tumult and tyranny of human rulers, divine providence would ultimately prevail. His commentaries served as a beacon for many, illuminating the path ahead with the light of unwavering faith in God's plan. As we tread towards the modern era, we come upon Gleason Archer, a scholar whose comprehensive knowledge and analytical prowess have advanced our understanding of biblical texts. Archer brought to the study of Daniel a keen awareness of historical context, linguistic nuance, and archaeological discovery. He tirelessly defended the traditional view of Daniel's authorship and prophetic authenticity against critical scholarship that questioned its veracity. Archer's works stand as robust defenses of the historical reliability of the biblical narrative, providing a foundation upon which faith can securely rest amidst the shifting sands of modern skepticism. Lastly, we arrive at John Walvoord, a theologian whose extensive writings on eschatology have been a compass for those navigating the complex waters of prophetic literature. Walvoord's interpretation of Daniel's visions was deeply eschatological, connecting the prophet's revelations with broader biblical prophecies concerning the end times. He articulated a futurist perspective, suggesting that many of Daniel's visions point towards events yet to unfold in the divine timeline. Walvoord's insights offered both a scholarly framework and a hopeful expectation for the fulfillment of God's ultimate plan for humanity. These theologians, each in their unique way, have contributed richly to the tapestry of Danielic interpretation. Through their work, we gain a multifaceted understanding of one of the Bible's most enigmatic books. They remind us that the pursuit of truth, though arduous, is a journey illuminated by the wisdom and insights of those who have gone before. Imagine, if you will, the ancient world where prophecies were regarded with both awe and skepticism. Daniel, a prophet exiled in Babylon, presents us with a series of visions so profound that they have been subjects of religious reverence and intellectual debate for centuries. The traditional interpretation of Daniel's visions posits that they are indeed prophetic revelations, foretelling future events with a precision that is simply staggering. Let's explore why this viewpoint holds significant weight and how history itself seems to corroborate these ancient predictions. Firstly, consider Daniel's account of the great statue in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, a vision outlined in Daniel 2. This statue, with its head of gold, chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, and feet partly of iron and partly of clay, is interpreted to represent successive kingdoms. From Babylon, gold, to Medo-Persia, silver, Greece, bronze, and Rome, iron. The accuracy with which these empires appear to succeed one another lends remarkable credence to the traditional prophetic interpretation. Notably, the fragmentation of the Roman Empire into a mix of strong and weak entities, symbolized by the iron and clay, parallels the historical fracturing of Rome into smaller states. Furthermore, Daniel's vision of the four beasts in Daniel 7 mirrors and expands upon the same theme, each beast representing an empire. The lion with eagle's wings corresponds to Babylon, the bear to Medo-Persia, the leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads to Greece, emphasizing the division of Alexander the Great's empire, and the terrifying beast with iron teeth to Rome. Historical chronicles affirm the rise and fall of these empires in the precise order Daniel foresaw. Another compelling testament to the traditional view is the vision of the ram and the goat in Daniel 8. The ram, symbolizing the Medo-Persian Empire, is overtaken by the goat, which represents Greece under Alexander the Great. The specificity of the goat's prominent horn, Alexander, breaking and giving way to 4 lesser horns, perfectly aligns with the subsequent division of Alexander's empire into 4 territories ruled by his generals. The pinpoint accuracy here is hard to dismiss as mere coincidence or creative storytelling. But the prophetic revelations don't end with historical accuracy, they also touch on the spiritual and eschatological realms. The vision of the Ancient of Days and the Son of Man in Daniel chapter 7 verses 13 to 14 is imbued with divinely ordained authority and sovereignty over all earthly realms. Christians have long interpreted this as the prophecy of Christ's dominion, an interpretation supported by New Testament writings, particularly in the Gospels and Revelation. Importantly, throughout the historical timeline, scholars and theologians such as Saint Jerome and John Calvin have upheld these visions as genuine prophecies, not merely retrospective accounts or allegories. Their extensive commentaries argue exhaustively for the divine origin of Daniel's visions, often cross-referencing historical events that have aligned perfectly with these prophetic revelations. It is also worth noting how the historical fulfillments of these prophecies bolster the faith of believers. The precise nature of these prophecies acts as a testament to a divine orchestration of history, strengthening the notion that events unfold according to a sovereign plan. For many, this affirms the reliability and divine inspiration of the Scriptures as a whole. In summation, the traditional interpretation of Daniel's visions as prophetic revelations finds substantial support through historical events and scholarly endorsement. The meticulous unfolding of history as seen through the lens of Daniel's visions offers a narrative so compelling that it beckons even the skeptical mind to ponder the possibility of a higher orchestration at play. As we reflect upon these ancient predictions and their astonishing fulfillments, we encounter not just a prophet's visions, but a grand tapestry interwoven with divine foresight and sovereign purpose. Imagine, if you will, our journey through time to the period of the Babylonian and Persian empires, where the prophet Daniel resides. The visions he speaks of, so vivid and portentous, have not only fascinated believers but have also piqued the curiosity and skepticism of scholars. Today, we delve into the debates surrounding the Book of Daniel, including the contentious issues of its dating and authorship. Scholarly debates and dating of Daniel, ***. Those who support the traditional view assert that the prophet Daniel, an exiled Jew in Babylon, penned the book in the 6th century BCE. However, this opinion faces challenges primarily from critical scholars who argue for a much later composition date, around the 2nd century BCE. This period corresponds with the Maccabean revolt, suggesting that the book was written not as prophecy, but rather as a historical recount or allegory to inspire the Jewish resistance against Antiochus IV Epiphanes, the Seleucid king. The question of authorship, ***. Traditionalists hold firm that Daniel himself is the author, inspired by divine visions. Critical scholars, on the other hand, question this attribution, positing that the book may have been written by multiple authors, reflecting a common pseudonymous practice. They argue that using a revered name like Daniel perpetuates the prophetic authority of the text, aligning it with earlier traditions. Criticism of prophetic accuracy, ***. One key argument from critics revolves around the extraordinary accuracy of historical events described in the visions, especially those relating to the Greek period, which culminates in the reign of Antiochus IV. This precision leads some to conclude that the book was written after the events it prophesies, thus serving as a retrospective narrative woven with theological and moral lessons. Allegorical interpretations, ***. Critics also interpret Daniel's visions as allegorical rather than literal prophecies. For example, the vision of the four beasts is seen as a cryptic representation of successive empires known to the writer, culminating in their contemporary Hellenistic period. This allegorical method enabled the faithful to read their current struggles into the text and draw strength from the hope of divine deliverance. Literary style and language, ***. The linguistic and stylistic elements of the book invite further scrutiny. While the traditional view accepts the blending of Hebrew and Aramaic, along with various Persian and Greek terms, as indicative of Daniel's wide-ranging experiences in the courts of foreign kings, critics see it as anachronistic, suggesting a later composition when such cultural and linguistic exchanges were more prevalent. Theological implications, ***. The challenges to the traditional view don't only concern history but delve deep into theological interpretations. If Daniel is indeed a piece written during the Maccabean revolt, it functions less as foretelling and more as a theological reflection on God's sovereignty amidst persecution. This shift impacts how believers understand the nature and purpose of biblical prophecy. Resilience of traditional belief, ***. Despite these rigorous academic challenges, many continue to uphold the traditional view, finding the faith-affirming power of Daniel's visions to be timeless. They argue that while critical scholarship provides valuable historical insights, it doesn't necessarily negate the spiritual truths woven into the fabric of the text. Thus, the Book of Daniel stands at the intersection of history, prophecy, and faith. Whether viewed through the lens of long-past divine revelation or as an inspiring text born out of a critical historical moment, it remains a cornerstone of biblical literature, inviting us to ponder the mysteries of God's dealings with humanity. Imagine now, dear reader, a world not bound by the familiar confines of our sensory experience. It is a world where celestial phenomena and divine messengers intersect with the affairs of men, much like actors stepping onto a grand stage unprepared for the cosmic roles assigned to them. Daniel's visions, contained within the pages of the Old Testament, transport us into this extraordinary realm, one where the veil of our mundane existence is momentarily lifted, revealing the intricate tapestry of divine orchestration. Remarkably, Daniel's visions do not stand in isolation. Rather, they form part of a broader tapestry of apocalyptic and prophetic literature that spans across different cultures and religious traditions. Consider, for instance, the Zoroastrian scriptures. In the sacred texts of Zoroastrianism, we encounter the prophet Zoroaster, who, much like Daniel, claimed to have received divine revelations. The Zoroastrian visions are replete with cosmic battles between forces of light and darkness, foretelling the ultimate triumph of good over evil. It is a narrative strikingly similar to the enduring hope and eschatological victory depicted in Daniel's visions. Moreover, the apocalyptic literature within Judaism offers fascinating parallels. The Jewish apocalyptic tradition, found in works such as the Book of Enoch and the apocalyptic sections of Isaiah, resonates with themes of divine judgment, the rise and fall of empires, and the eventual establishment of God's righteous kingdom. These motifs, mirrored in Daniel's vivid imagery of beasts and celestial beings, underscore a shared worldview that perceives history as a theater of divine activity, culminating in the ultimate revelation of God's plan. Christianity, too, carries forward this prophetic thread. The New Testament's Apocalypse, the Book of Revelation, can be seen as an echo of Daniel's visions. John of Patmos, like Daniel, envisions a series of divine revelations filled with symbols and allegories that communicate the final victory of Christ, the ultimate consolidation of God's kingdom, and the restoration of creation. The Son of Man imagery in Daniel finds a powerful echo in the Christology of the New Testament, where Jesus is often referred to as the Son of Man who will come on the clouds of heaven. While Daniel's visions are encapsulated within the Judeo-Christian tradition, the echoes of their themes reverberate far beyond. Ancient prophecies from various cultures often grapple with the cosmic struggle between order and chaos, good and evil, and the eventual hope for a restored, harmonious existence. Whether it's the apocalyptic battle in Norse mythology's Ragnarok or the cyclic destruction and creation in Hindu cosmology, there exists a universal quest to understand the divine narrative that governs the cosmos. In this grand cosmic play, Daniel's visions remind us that we are not mere spectators. Instead, we are invited to partake, to look beyond the material realm and perceive the greater reality. Just as Daniel interpreted the enigmatic dreams of kings and unraveled divine mysteries, so too are we called to seek wisdom and discernment, uncovering the truths that lie beneath the surface of our everyday experiences. Therein lies the timeless relevance of Daniel's visions. They invite us to ponder the transcendent and eternal, to recognize the divine fingerprints in the course of human history, and to anticipate with hope and faith the fulfillment of God's purposes. As we navigate through the complexities and uncertainties of our own times, Daniel's visions offer us a beacon of hope, a reminder that the divine story is still being written, and we are part of it. Reflect, then, on the shared hope of these ancient prophecies and their visions of a world redeemed and restored. In doing so, let us remain steadfast in our faith, vigilant in our quest for understanding, and ever grateful for the divine revelations that continue to guide and inspire us. Imagine, if you will, a scene. An arid plain under the sweltering sun where learned men meticulously comb through the sands of time, sifting the remnants of ancient cultures, seeking the echoes of voices long faded. It is here, amidst the scrolls and shards, that archaeology intertwines with faith in a delicate dance of revelation and rediscovery. One of the most momentous finds in recent history, casting a divine light upon the ancient texts, is the corpus known as the Dead Sea Scrolls. Discovered in the mid-20th century, these scrolls are not merely fragments of antiquity, they are the whispers of an age long past. Among these sacred scrolls are portions of the Book of Daniel, a fortuitous validation of the scriptural authenticity that many had merely taken on faith. Picture the scholar as he dusts off a fragment, eyes wide with the recognition of lines penned centuries before Christ. Here lies Daniel, etched in ink that has withstood millennia, chronicling visions that transcend the mundane. The age of these texts, dating back to as early as the 2nd century BC, serves to affirm that the stories and prophecies of Daniel were held in high regard long before the advent of later religious interpretations. But it is not only in the gentle preservation of scrolls that we find this intertwining of history and the divine. Turn your gaze now to the robust walls and towering structures of ancient Babylon. In this land ruled by Nebuchadnezzar, archaeologists have unearthed inscriptions that corroborate the reigns of kings and the succession of empires, names consecrated in the Book of Daniel. These cuneiform tablets and royal annals are not mere stones. They are the skeletal remains of a civilization that once thrived, whose chronicles pulse with a heartbeat echoing the biblical narratives. Imagine deciphering a Babylonian inscription that speaks of King Belshazzar, once thought a mere mythical figure by skeptics. How the sands divulge their secrets with reticence, yielding evidence that indeed, he was a co-regent in Babylon's twilight years, just as Daniel recounts. And there is Cyrus, the great liberator, whose decree ended the Jewish exile. Here again, inscriptions engraved in ancient capitals substantiate his historicity and the grand actions attributed to him, further solidifying the intersection of biblical accounts and archaeological testimony. These artifacts, be they brittle scrolls hidden in desert caves or chiseled stone monuments found amidst ancient ruins, serve as touchstones of faith and reason. They invite us, as modern seekers, to step beyond mere belief and into the realm where faith is enriched by understanding and the invisible is made manifest through tangible echoes of the past. As we ponder Daniel's visions, so transcendent, consider how these archaeological finds do not merely affirm the historical backdrop of the scriptures. They beckon us to a deeper inquiry, a more profound engagement with the text that is backed by evidence as sturdy as the stone tablets on which kings declared their decrees. Thus, through the lenses of both faith and academia, the figure of Daniel emerges not as a mere mythic seer, but as a historical prophet whose visions still resonate. And in this dual affirmation, we find a symphony of truth where the ancient and the eternal coalesce in a harmonious testament to divine revelation. Today, we embark on a journey through the corridors of scholarly debate, a well-trodden path by theologians, historians, and archaeologists alike. This path takes us deep into the heart of discussions surrounding the historicity and prophetic accuracy of the Book of Daniel. Just as the Rabbit Room at Oxford's Eagle and Child was a hub for robust conversations among friends, today, we gather to explore the intriguing dialogues that have shaped our understanding of this remarkable text. We begin with those who champion the historicity of Daniel, viewing him as both a prophet and a historical figure. Proponents of this perspective often lean heavily on archaeological findings that coincide with the narrative details found within the Book of Daniel. For instance, the Dead Sea Scrolls, uncovered in the mid-20th century, include fragments of Daniel's text that many argue are indicative of its ancient origins and suggest its reputed authenticity. Those who support Daniel's historicity typically point to inscriptions from the Babylonian period, which confirm the existence of figures and events described in the book. For example, the mention of Belshazzar as the king of Babylon was once doubted, due to the lack of corroborating evidence. However, subsequent discoveries, such as the Nabonidus cylinder, have provided context, introducing Nabonidus's son, Belshazzar, as a key regent during his father's absence. This vindicates the biblical account and bolsters the argument for its accuracy. On the other end of the spectrum, we encounter scholars who present a more critical view. They suggest that the Book of Daniel is not a historical record but rather a work of historical fiction or apocalyptic literature constructed during the Maccabean period. According to these scholars, the book was written to offer hope and encouragement to the Jewish people during a time of severe persecution. Critics often debate the dating of the text, proposing that it was penned around the 2nd century BCE, well after the events it describes. They cite linguistic analysis, with Aramaic and Hebrew usages in Daniel that seem characteristic of later periods, as a basis for their argument. Additionally, the precise nature of Daniel's prophecies, some assert, suggests they were written after the events had already occurred, a technique known as vaticinium ex eventu, or prophecy after the fact. But archaeology does not offer unambiguous support to one camp exclusively. Each new discovery often presents more questions than answers. For instance, the debate continues over the enigmatic figure of Darius the Mede, mentioned in Daniel but absent from other historical records. Some suggest he could be the same as Cyrus's general, Gubaru, while others argue that he may be a conflation of various historical figures or even a fictitious character. Discussions around the interpretive lens are equally riveting. Is Daniel to be read allegorically, as some modern scholars propose, or should the text be taken at face value as a faithful recording of actual visions? This fundamental disagreement influences interpretations of key prophetic passages, including the enigmatic 70 weeks and the anticipated coming of the Son of Man. Even among those who accept the historicity of Daniel, there's a rich diversity of interpretations concerning the eschatological messages in his visions. Theological variations arise in different Christian denominations, each offering a unique perspective on how Daniel's visions relate to the broader narrative of biblical prophecy, the end times, and the continuous unfolding of God's plan. As we draw this chapter of our discussion to a close, much like a conversation amongst members of the Inklings, we recognize that the debates on Daniel's historicity and prophetic accuracy are as labyrinthine as the visions themselves. They invite us to venture deeper into the text, question our assumptions, and consider the manifold ways God might reveal truths through Scripture. In our quest for understanding, we must balance a reverence for the sacred texts with an openness to scholarly inquiry. It is through this delicate dance that we might grasp, however dimly, the profound mysteries etched within the ancient scrolls of the prophet Daniel. Imagine, if you will, dear reader, the grandeur and awe one must feel when encountering the miraculous. Such is the nature of the events described in Daniel's visions, contained within the sacred text of Scripture. Marvel with me at the wonders that have both mystified and inspired countless generations. Consider first the vision of Daniel in the lion's den, a tale of steadfast faith and divine intervention. Picture a night in ancient Babylon. There stands Daniel, resolute in his devotion to the Almighty, refusing to bow to earthly mandates that contravene his devotion to God. Betrayed by malicious peers jealous of his favor, he is cast into a den of lions. Yet, amid the ravenous beasts, the miraculous occurs. Daniel remains unharmed. As dawn breaks, the stone is rolled away, and lo, he emerges unscathed. How can this be? An angel of the Lord had shut the mouths of the lions, shielding his faithful servant from harm. What a testimony to divine protection, a steadfast beacon amidst adversity. Now let us turn our gaze to another astonishing narrative, that of the fiery furnace, a story that radiates the power of faith and divine presence. In the heart of Babylon, under the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, 3 young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, stand defiant against the decree to worship a golden image. Condemned for their resistance, they face a furnace so fierce that merely approaching it claims the lives of the guards. Thrown into the inferno, surely their fate seems sealed. Yet, amid the flames, a 4th figure appears, luminous and divine. The onlookers, including the astonished king, see these men walking unbound and unharmed. Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? Asks Nebuchadnezzar. Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Emerging without even the scent of smoke upon them, the miracle stands undeniable. Their faith had summoned divine protection. What can one derive from these breathtaking episodes? Beyond their narrative magnificence, they echo a profound theological truth. That faith, even amidst the gravest dangers, calls forth divine rescue. Just as Daniel trusted in the midst of lions and the 3 young Jews trusted in the fiery ordeal, so can we find solace in the assurance of divine companionship and deliverance. In conclusion, as we ponder these miraculous events, let our hearts be ever buoyed by the knowledge that the same God who shut the mouths of the lions and walked through the flames still watches over us. These stories are not quaint relics of a bygone era but living testaments to an ever-present divine power. May we carry forward this unshakable faith, emboldened by the supernatural testimonies of God's unwavering presence in our lives. Imagine, if you will, standing on a mountaintop where the thin air seems to carry whispers of eternity. This is what delving into Daniel's visions can feel like. They are not merely fantastical stories from a distant past, but profound revelations that continue to shape the bedrock of Judaic and Christian beliefs about the end times, or eschatology, as scholars call it. The visions of Daniel are filled with beastly empires, angelic beings, and divine judgments. They offer a panoramic sweep of history and future, entwining the mundane with the miraculous. Such imagery stirs the soul and prompts one to look beyond the veil of everyday life, contemplating the ultimate destiny of humanity and the universe itself. Eschatology, in essence, is the study of last things, the final events in the history of the world and the ultimate destiny of humankind. For Jews and Christians alike, Daniel's visions provide a crucial compass in navigating these profound mysteries. They bridge the temporal and eternal, urging believers to remain steadfast in faith, no matter how tumultuous the times. For Christians, Daniel's visions serve as a cornerstone for New Testament revelations, especially in the book of Revelation. The imagery of one like a son of man, coming with the clouds of heaven, Daniel chapter 7 verse 13, resonates deeply within Christian eschatology, pointing towards Christ's second coming. It's a vision that has fortified countless generations of believers, inspiring hymns, sermons, and a myriad of theological reflections. Personal faith journeys can be profoundly impacted by these ancient visions. For instance, when facing trials akin to the fiery furnace or the lion's den, believers may draw strength from Daniel's unwavering faith. His assurance that God's kingdom will ultimately triumph over the kingdoms of this world offers hope and resilience, fostering a deep trust in God's sovereign plan. Furthermore, contemporary religious observances often find their roots in Daniel. The concept of a sovereign God who oversees the rise and fall of empires underscores the importance of divine providence in daily worship. Liturgical readings, prayers, and even artistic depictions within places of worship often re-echo the themes of Daniel's visions, reminding the faithful of God's eternal dominion. Take, for example, the Jewish holiday of Purim, which commemorates divine deliverance as recounted in the book of Esther. The themes of divine intervention and protection parallel those found in Daniel's accounts. Similarly, in Christian traditions, Daniel's prophetic visions enrich the Advent season, which anticipates the coming of Christ, both in his nativity and at the end of times. In essence, the significance of Daniel's visions transcends their ancient origin. They are not mere relics of a bygone era but living words that continue to mold and inspire faith. They beckon us to lift our eyes from the turmoil of the present and set our sights on the eternal horizon, where God's ultimate purposes will be unveiled in all their glory. So, allow yourself to be transported by the vivid tapestry of Daniel's visions. Let them stir your spirit and anchor your faith in the certainty that, amidst the chaos of history, the Ancient of Days reigns supreme. And in this grand narrative, every believer has a place, secure in the divine promise of redemption and renewal. Throughout the annals of human history, grand visions and divine revelations have always captured the imagination of artists, writers, and thinkers. Among these, the visions of the prophet Daniel stand unparalleled in their vividness and symbolic depth. Imagine you are walking through an art gallery in Florence, or perhaps flipping through an ornate manuscript from the Middle Ages. You are bound to encounter the compelling imagery inspired by Daniel's visions, their allure undeniable, their impact profound. Let's first journey to the Renaissance, a period where the confluence of human creativity and divine inspiration reached new heights. Here, we find that artists such as Michelangelo and Raphael were not merely content with the temporal beauty of the human form and the physical world. They sought to transcend the earthly realm, embracing the heavenly and the visionary. Daniel's visions provided fertile ground for this ambition. For example, Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel lovingly details scenes from the Book of Daniel, capturing the dramatic essence and the eternal struggle between the divine and the earthly. What Michelangelo accomplished with paint, he also infused with profound theological and existential questions, making Daniel's visions not just scenes but experiences. Moving from visual art to the literary domain, we encounter the likes of Dante and Milton, whose epic works drew heavily from biblical texts, including the Book of Daniel. Dante, in his Divine Comedy, painted word pictures of a cosmos deeply influenced by apocalyptic literature, using Daniel's visions to frame his exploration of divine justice. Milton, in Paradise Lost, mirrored Daniel's portrayal of the cosmic battle between good and evil, fitting neatly into the grand tapestry of heavenly machinations and earthly struggles. Fast forward to the modern era, and Daniel's visions continue to hold sway. In literature, works such as George Orwell's 1984 evoke an apocalyptic worldview reminiscent of Daniel's end-times prophecies. The dystopian struggle and the omnipresent, authoritarian oversight echo the narratives of divine and earthly powers in conflict. Writers have found Daniel's themes of revelation and divine sovereignty fertile for exploring the depths of human experience and the convolutions of political power. Moreover, cinema has not been immune to the lure of Daniel's awe-inspiring visions. Films of a prophetic or apocalyptic nature often borrow visual and thematic elements from Daniel's revelations. Consider the dreamlike sequences in movies that depict the end of the world or the coming of a messianic figure. These cinematic references are not merely homage but signify the timeless relevance of Daniel's visions in expressing human hopes and anxieties about the future. The Book of Daniel's influence extends even into contemporary visual media, well beyond the confines of traditional art or literature. Television series like Left Behind or The 100 Inches draw from Daniel's concept of end times to portray post-apocalyptic realities and the emergence of new orders from chaos. These culturally resonant narratives demonstrate how Daniel's visions continue to shape and interpret modern societal landscapes, providing a canvas for grappling with ultimate concerns. Indeed, what makes Daniel's visions so compelling across centuries is their profound symbolism. They are not mere images but repositories of deeper truth about humanity, divinity, and the cosmos. The beasts rising from the sea, the divine throne, and the archangelic messages all serve as metaphors for universal themes of power, destiny, and divine oversight. As readers behold these images, they engage not merely with past prophetic utterances but with living, breathing allegories that recontextualize the present and future. In conclusion, the cultural representations of Daniel's visions, from Renaissance paintings to contemporary film, reflect a profound engagement with his vivid dreams and divine insights. Each artwork, each literary masterpiece, and each cinematic venture serves as a testament to the enduring power and relevance of Daniel's prophetic experiences. They remind us, time and again, that behind the visages of lions and horns, of angelic and demonic figures, lie deeper truths about the human condition and our place within the grand, divine narrative. As we draw our journey of exploration to a close, let us pause to reflect on the profound tapestry that Daniel's visions weave. These extraordinary glimpses into the divine realm are imbued with a theological depth that invites us to ponder the sovereignty of an almighty God. Indeed, Daniel's visions not only challenge our understanding of earthly kingdoms and their ephemeral authority, but they also herald the everlasting dominion of a higher, celestial order. Delving deeper, we encountered the vibrant historical context of these visions. Set against the backdrop of the Babylonian and Persian empires, Daniel's prophetic ministry unfolds during a period of great turmoil and hope for the Jewish people. His stories resonate with themes of exile, deliverance, and the immutable nature of divine promises. What an awe-inspiring reminder that even in the midst of upheaval, the divine narrative marches on, undeterred and unaltered. We also marveled at the miraculous nature of these visions. What could be more astounding than the procession of beasts, the ram and the goat, the mysterious, Ancient of Days? These visions are not mere fancies of the imagination. They transcend the ordinary, drawing us into a realm where the impossible becomes possible and the mundane gives way to the miraculous. In Daniel's experiences, we see a divine playwright whose script is filled with heavenly wonders and celestial interventions that defy human understanding. The enduring significance of Daniel's visions cannot be overstated. For generations, they have shaped not only theological discourse but also personal faith. They beckon us to a deeper dive into the rich waters of the Book of Daniel, encouraging us to seek understanding and wisdom. The visions left an indelible impact on Judeo-Christian eschatology, and they continue to inspire and guide contemporary faith practices. As we close, I encourage each one of you, whether you are here for the first time or a returning friend, to subscribe, like, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement not only enriches our community but also steers the direction of future explorations. What other visions or divine mysteries should we unravel together? Your feedback and suggestions are the compass guiding our next adventure. So, until next time, may the wisdom of Daniel's visions illuminate your path. Stay curious, stay hopeful, and most importantly, stay tuned. Thank you, and see you soon. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the profound and mysterious visions given to your servant Daniel. As we marvel at these divine revelations, may our faith be strengthened and our hearts be open to understanding your ultimate plans. Grant us wisdom and discernment as we navigate through the complexities of our lives, trusting in your sovereignty and divine timing. Bless every viewer here today, and may your truths continue to guide us and shape our lives. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.